You wanted to talk a little bit about marriage equality right off the top of the show. It's a live call-in show. We'll have the number up for you shortly. The lines are actually full or almost full at this point. So we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah, we got a ton of email in the last week. It's like people have just discovered this marriage equality issue, and for some reason, the emails that we got this week seem to be people who don't understand there's a difference between the issue that's before the Supreme Court right now, which has to do with marriage equality, and adoption rights. Okay, a lot of them justify their opposition to marriage equality because they say, oh, gay people shouldn't raise children, or I don't think it's right, or some kind of visceral response to gay people parenting children. So what I wanted to address right off the bat is that marriage equality and adoption rights are separate issues. We're already raising families. We have children. And in fact, we have about 40 years worth of research that shows that the sexual orientation of a parent is not relevant to how well a child does. What you need is a stable family and good parents. And that's something that major child welfare organizations, they're all on board with. LGBT people raising children with second parent adoption, because if you are a child welfare advocate and you think that children should be raised by as many people as necessary to take care of them properly, then you should be in favor of second parent adoption, because that actually ensures that a child's best interests are looked after. But this whole marriage equality thing, what's before the court is not about adoption. What's before the court right now with the repeal of DOMA and the Prop 8 question from California, those have to do specifically with civil marriage, whether we're going to extend civil marriage to everyone or whether we're going to restrict it to just a specific group of people. And so that's what's at issue right now. It's not adoption. So please don't pretend that you're an advocate for children if you're coming up and saying that gay people shouldn't be able to adopt.
Yeah, that would be like exactly backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, let's advocate for children by making sure there are fewer possible good homes for them to live in.
Yeah.
It's just baffling.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I had in this conversation with somebody who emailed us about all this. She started raising all sorts of irrelevant points, about what's the norm and normalcy and the risks. And so one of her big concerns was the risk of HIV and how it's more prevalent in homosexual men. Well, great. Congratulations. First of all, same-sex marriage isn't just constrained to homosexual men.
Right.
So you're already starting by dealing with a smaller than complete view of the thing. Yeah. But also, if your concern is about the transmission and spread of HIV, then, and your argument is that you don't want men to marry men, instead you would encourage a system that encourages less monogamy and more promiscuity. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't agree with her position or her points that she was making at the beginning, but it's like not only did you bring up irrelevant, really bad points, but if they were true, they would still contradict what your position is.
Well, exactly, and heterosexuality is not this magical barrier to HIV. Yeah, I know.
It's funny that people, my positions on sexuality and gender identity and all kinds of things have changed dramatically from the time when I was a Christian believer to now when I'm working for the devil. But it's interesting to watch people who are beginning this kind of discovery period, stuff that I had gone through before, the discovery of the kind of like Kinsey scales, and that there isn't just this black and white gay straight, and it's not just gay bi straight, that there's this full-on spectrum, and you're probably 5% gay or 10% or whatever. I mean, you can't really quantify it. But the point being that human sexuality and human gender identity are not these simple little boxes that people want to stick people in, and then claim this is normal.
Even biological sex is not the binary thing that most people think of. I mean, there are intersex individuals who may fall, on, some part of that spectrum. They may be, more identified as female or more identified as male, but not distinctly male or female. or they might be somewhere right in the middle, you know, and that's where this whole idea that, you know, you've got these binaries where you have male, female, gay, straight, whatever. That's not necessarily the way things work.
The funny part of it is the one email. I mean, there were several people who emailed in on this subject, and some got it more than others. And I dealt with some over Facebook and had conversations that were pretty productive. The one that was the least productive and the most confusing, it was basically gays are icky.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to rationalize my gay is icky bigotry as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I like is that this idea that if we have marriage equality, that somehow there won't be as many people reproducing because two gay people can't possibly, you know, have a child.
It's amazing.
I know, even though my wife gave birth to our child, you know, go figure. But, you know, this whole idea that if we have fewer people reproducing, that somehow the human race will cease to exist.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the position that only gay people should be getting married at this point, and that only people who jump through amazing hoops to reproduce should be doing so, because I don't need another 16 and pregnant series spinoff, and I didn't know I was pregnant, and oh my gosh, I've got 19 kids and counting, because there's 7+ billion of us at this point. I'm pretty sure it's not the end of the world to let people marry who don't have any intent of having kids, and we do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, there's no fertility test when you go in to get a marriage license.
Yeah.
You don't have to prove that you're fertile and that you intend to have children.
When your 80-year-old grandmother decides to remarry, are you going to go after her? Because she can't have kids anymore either.
Yeah.
Oh, but she's a grandmother.
Yeah. Although if you get married in the Catholic Church, I think they do require that you intend to have kids.
Well, those 80-year-olds can intend all they want.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to happen.